Yeah, we should talk about some of the teams in the East, I think.
I mean,
And the one
let's just
that I'll
start
bring
off
up.
with the Pacers.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
what I was
not
going
on
to
the
say.
list. The Pacers, they just lost Tyrese Halliburton. They're on a 5-game losing streak right now. I mean, they're now 23-23. They were 23-18 earlier, which would roughly put them probably around the 6th seed. Which I mean, that's a pretty good spot to be. That means whatever you're doing, it's working. So I mean, do we really need to worry about Indiana with this Tyrese injury? Because I mean, obviously without Tyrese, they can't do anything. Like it is just too far gone. Tanking team for sure. And I mean, do they take this time to trade away either Miles Turner or Buddy Hield? You know, bring in probably maybe a first or two, or maybe just an all star player for the two, and take a push this year, or fall back, pick up a good player, and then now you have two young players for the future. Like, what's the plan?
Well, I know they're definitely not going to get an all-star. Miles Turner's in the final year of his contract, so
That is true. But I mean,
that
Miles
limits
Turner has
limits.
been playing really well this year too.
Yeah, but it's just how the contracts work. Last year your contract, you're not going to get full value for a player. But I don't think they need to blow it up either. I mean, coming into the season, everybody thought they were going to be one of the front runners for Wembyama, but they quickly showed that wasn't the case. And
I
even though Halliburton and they've been losing, I think they should just keep going ahead with what they got. Maybe if they want to get rid of Buddy Hield, if they could get a first just for him by himself. I think that would be an option worth looking at. But
well, I don't even know
for
if
the
you
rest of
really
the
want to
team,
give up a first if you're trying to contend this year. I think flip Buddy Hield for some category that you might be lacking in. Because I mean that
I think you could still get like a first rounder for him, or maybe you could flip him for a younger piece. Like say, for example, you trade him to Washington for Corey Kisbert or something. Player that does the same
Cam
thing but a
Reddish
little
is
bit
on the
younger.
trade block, not using him in New York.
Yeah, I've seen like 4 or 5 teams go looking after him, looking for him.
I think the
Bucks and
Lakers
Heat.
are like in the front runners for that.
The Lakers would take anybody that can actually stay on the court right now. So
Stay on
I
the
don't think
court
that
and
counts. But
actually shoot too.
that's the thing, though. Is Reddish isn't like it's not like he's a 3-point sharpshooter. He's sort of an unknown.
Well,
Like if you're trading for Cam Reddish, you're trading for what you think he could be.
yeah,
And like so far in his career, he hasn't really shown that he could be anything. To be honest, otherwise he'd still be at Atlanta.
that is true. And I mean, he was facing huge minutes, going against DeAndre Hunter there. And I mean, it's hard to compete against a guy like that. And I mean, obviously, he's not proving much more in New York. So obviously, the
Yeah, well,
fresh start is
RJ had that
crucial.
RJ had that finger laceration that he's just returned from, and
Yeah,
he missed like a good 2 or 3 weeks. Like, and Reddish still wasn't playing, so I don't know if that's good signs for him.
that's not a good sign. Obviously, if your number one competitor, the star player, your team is out, and you're not taking in those minutes. I don't know if you're really.
Probably got a little bit to do with Thibodeau as well, though. I know he can be a bit of a weird coach to play under, especially if you're young. Just like the coach they got in Charlotte, I think it's Clifford. Like, he's still playing Plumlee, even though you've got 2 young centers that you need to develop.
Yeah,
So
there's a.
start
I don't know
Plum.
why Charlotte hasn't fired Clifford at this point. He's not doing
I don't
much.
know. I don't know why they fired Borrego.
That is true. I don't know why they even did that in the first place. Borrego was fine. And I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, as we could tell, the Hornets are not winning basketball games. They are third place for the Wembanyama race at the moment.
They second last in the East.
They are second to last in the East. They are tied with Detroit, actually. Detroit has 2 more games played than them, and they're both losses. So that's the only reason why they're ahead of Detroit.
Oh my God.
Hornets have
I think coming into the
stinky.
season, their over-under was like in the 30s, and I took the under straight away.
All right.
So that was a definite.
Nobody is you on, That's actually really funny. Magic are doing better than the Hornets. Hornets have LaMelo. They have promising pieces over there with Gordon Hayward, PJ Tucker. Can't do anything. The Magic are doing better with literally just what's his name?
Paulo.
Paulo Banchero.
Yeah, they got the Wagners.
They do have the Wagners there, but I don't think it's really done much.
Hey, Franz is playing pretty good this year.
Well, no, not the Magic wise. Like the Hornets, it's just been a huge disappointment this year.
Yeah, well, supposedly they're trying to get rid of Rozier as well.
I would just get rid of everybody who was old. I don't care. Get rid of Hayward. Get rid of Rozier.
What team is going to take Hayward, though? There's not a team on the planet that's going to take Gordon Hayward.
Any team that needs a bench player who is probably going to be injured for the rest of the year.
They literally need someone to warm the bench because that's all he's good for.
Yeah, pretty much. A guy who's going to be there in the locker room to support his team. We need that cheerleader on the bench.
That guy probably regrets leaving the Jazz every waking minute of his life.
Probably, because that was the last time he's actually done anything. Because, breaks his leg in the first game on Boston and has just died ever since.
Just been on the bench. King of the injury report.
Literally. I mean, we're talking Jonathan Isaac, too.
Hey, he's coming back, isn't he?
That is true. Jonathan Isaac is, in fact, from what I've seen on the injury reports, planning to come back for this second game of the back-to-back the Magic have. They're playing their first against Sacramento today. Oh, wait, no, not. Is it? No.
Not today. It's definitely not today.
Facing? Not today, yeah.
I think we've already played them twice this year.
You have. It was Thunder. We were literally just talking about that, too. They're versing the Pelicans today. Tomorrow they are playing the Nuggets. Oh, wait, no. Why is it backwards? No, they're versing the Wizards. Man, I definitely know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, they're versing the Wizards tomorrow. Jonathan Isaac could be coming back then. If not, he'll probably be back against the Celtics. And, I mean, that man hasn't played in 3 years.
Since the bubble, wasn't it?
Yeah, literally. He hasn't played since the coronavirus was popular. And, I mean, there's been a lot of changes in people's lives in the past 3 years Jonathan Isaac has been gone. And, I mean, he wasn't even a bad player, He just got his contract extension for 4 years. He was looking to be a potential DPOY guy in a few years. A great piece to, have on your team, not necessarily build around. But, I mean, he was exciting, to watch. And I think the Magic...
Sort of like how we were talking about OG before.
Yeah, and, he was going to be that guy. I think he was more defensive-oriented than OG was, but... I'm sorry, I got distracted looking at Karl Malone's free throw routine. I love Jonathan Isaac, one of my favorite guys. I used to watch him in college as well. And I mean, he was exciting to watch, put up 7 blocks in a game if he really felt like it. And then, he's out for the foreseeable future, finally coming back. And I mean, he's going to be off the bench for Orlando. They don't need him. They just picked up Paulo. Bull's looking good. Wendell Carter Jr., he's a solid piece. I mean, the only person you could really, verse for minutes on the starting lineup would be Wendell Carter.
That's why I'm a bit circumspect, I guess, looking at Jonathan Isaac coming back is like, is the reason they're bringing him back to like show other teams, hey, look, he's healthy. Now you can trade for him. Like,
It's either
because I don't really
that
understand where
or
he
the fact that,
fits with.
he's been out for the past 3 years. This is last year on his contract. He needs to play, otherwise no one's going to sign him in the free agency, and no one knows how good he is. That man could be, better than what he was, or he could be, G League the next year. It's hard to tell.
But yeah, I don't see where he fits with this Magic team.
He doesn't.
With age and like they just don't have the room for him.
I wouldn't
As
even
you
say
mentioned,
age.
all those names
He's like 26 years old now. He's still young.
Yeah, but even that doesn't mesh with what they're trying to do. That team's not going to be good for like 3-4 years. So what? He's going to be 30. He's going to be like their vet, or
at that point, I mean, could you even call him a vet? He's missed the past 3 years. He's still like second-year player. Oh, nice. My
But
PlayStation lost
good luck to him.
Wi-Fi connection.
Best of luck to him. I mean, it's good to see their stories of players that have been out for so long coming back. But yeah, I just don't see what he's going to do.
And I mean, yeah, you can't really do a whole lot. It's not like, he's that superstar player that they've been waiting for all this time. So, I mean, he has to prove himself within this year, He has to come back. I mean, he might be on he's going to be on minute restrictions for the rest of the year, probably.
Oh,
he's
without a doubt.
Playing like 15, 20 minutes a game at most. And I mean, it's going to, prove that he could do something if he plays the rest of the year and doesn't get, hurt. So, I mean, there's potential there to, get a contract. And I mean, there's a lot of teams out there who would probably be interested if he's actually, doing something.
Lakers.
That's for sure. Lakers would probably.
Lakers will be. Lakers are interested in any player with a heartbeat.
That is true. And I mean, a few other teams, if Atlanta was really down bad to trade John Collins away. Even though Orlando doesn't need a power forward. Orlando needs probably a point guard, if anything. Because, I mean...
Well, you don't like Fultz?
No, I really don't. It's Markelle Fultz. I thought he was out of the league last year. I'm not even going to lie. I kind of forgot he existed.
He's looked pretty good when he's played, I reckon. Like, obviously not number one draft pick. But he's a serviceable player.
And I mean, he's under the shadow of, that Jason Tatum year. Where now, Lowry Markkanen looks better. Donovan Mitchell. There's a lot of players that are way above him now. And Markelle was supposed to be, the next prime Derrick Rose. Kind of hard,
Yeah, he's
going from that.
Definitely not that.
He won't even be close. I reckon that he will probably, A, never be an all-star, but B, potentially after Orlando, he's going to be, riding people's benches. Maybe even during Orlando. He might fall there soon enough. Because I don't know if Jalen Suggs is starting or not. I'm assuming he's not.
No.
Next year, he probably will be.
See, Jalen Suggs is another player that, like Fultz, that just already doesn't look like he's going to be that much. Like, he'd be a serviceable player, and that's about it.
That is true. He doesn't look all that.
He has spurts where he looks like he could be an all-star, but, like, it's few and far between. I mean, this is a guy that missed most of his rookie season.
And, I mean, the last noticeable thing people remember him for was, hitting that game-winning shot in college. That's the last thing I think most people have heard out of Jalen Suggs was his college career. I don't think anyone reckons him.
By Baylor in the final.
I don't think anyone thinks of him for his Orlando Magic career at this point.
Which I can't really talk. I would have taken him higher than what he was taken, but sometimes you get him wrong. I thought he was going to be a good player, so I just felt.
I mean, obviously, as we've seen with marketing, sometimes players just need a new spot to show what they really are. I mean, Jalen Suggs might be it. He might not, but I don't know. I think they need to give him a bigger shot. I mean, it's not like you guys are going to be, running for playoff contentions right now. Might as well just throw players in and see what the hell happens.
Well, that's why they've been giving Franz Wagner a lot more of the ball handling responsibilities. Be like, well, we'll see what you can do. Like, is there anything you can't do?
He's actually had a really good game today. I don't know if you looked at the Magic game today.
Nah, this is the first game I'm watching today. Watching the Kings get smoked.
Franz Wagner dropped 36 and 9 today.
Is that 9 assists or rebounds?
9 assists.
Nice.
I mean, we haven't seen anything like that out of Franz Wagner, at least from what I've seen. I mean, I haven't watched a whole lot of Orlando games, but I know he's improved on scoring. And he's averaging 20.5 points a game this season. I'm actually surprised by that. 20 points per game score, 4 rebounds, 3.5 assists. I mean, he put up 36 and 9. There's something to work with there.
Yeah, no, he's a good player, Franz. I really like him. I like the combo they've got with him and Paolo. They just need a few years. Orlando will come good. Like, out of all those teams that are down towards the bottom of the league, like, them and OKC were the ones I was least concerned about because you could see the talent they had.
Yeah.
It's like getting back to the Houston